Let's do this creamy garlic cabbage with these crunchy chickpeas on top of a caramelized acorn squash. It's actually the cover of my cookbook. I just think this one's really pretty to look at. You get that deep orange, you get the purples. It's just very pleasing to the eye, in my opinion. I think everyone should be adding a lot more squash to their diet. It's going to be a great carb source, pretty high in potassium. You're getting a lot more fiber, and it just tastes good. It's like a little sweet. It has a good texture when you cook it well. And before we get into it, I just want to mention that I'm always being asked, what kind of carbs can you eat? Everyone's always so worried and they just end up starving themselves. And I just want to start this video by saying part of the thing to keep in mind when it comes to carbs is there an adequate amount of fiber with these carbs? Because we're using squash, it has its own natural fiber in it. So that's going to help balance out how the sugars get absorbed into your body, and you're getting a whole bunch of other nutrients as well, versus just using white rice or bread or a conventional pasta. And since we're getting into fall, I figure why not start doing a few more squash recipes for you guys, because I think in general, everyone should be eating a lot more squash. So before we get into it, there are just two things you're going to want to prep ahead of time. That's going to be your crunchy chickpeas and the creamy garlic crema. So you can do this the night before, an hour before, or just as you're setting up. Longer is going to be a little bit better. Just take your cashews and soak them in some water. Make sure they're covered all the way. This is going to help soften them up. So when you blend them later, it's going to give you a much smoother texture for your crema. And for the chickpeas, you're going to want to prep these by peeling the skin off of them. Now, if that sounds weird, you might just have not really looked at chickpeas before cooking them before. Whether you get the can or if you pre-soak your own, there's going to be this skin. I don't know how else to say it. It's literally just a little bit of skin. I don't know why it's there. Don't ask me. And just kind of pop that off. It does take a little bit of time. You can rub them together in a paper towel or something like that. I just do it by hand and just use it as like my meditation for the day and just be like, I'm gonna do this for the next 5 or so minutes, depends on how in the zone I get. But doing this is just gonna help them crisp up better and get you a much better texture for when you cook them. And real quick, I'm just doing this video to give you some inspiration. If you want the full recipe, I have that on my website. You can visit it, aboutthismuch.com. I made some PDFs. This one is in the vegan cookbook. And actually, I think it is in the omnivore version as well. But I just wanted to highlight, a vegan recipe because a lot of you guys are vegan. And that's also why we're making sure to include a good amount of the chickpeas, because it is some protein. I wouldn't say it's like your daily recommended or anything like that. It's definitely on the lower end, but at least you're getting something in there. So once your chickpeas are all peeled, I like to use a little bit of unrefined oil. I'm using avocado just because it's more neutral flavored. From there, just drizzle a little bit on, just enough to kind of coat everything. And then you're going to sprinkle on a little bit of salt before tossing them into an air fryer, or you can bake them in the oven. Air fryer is going to be a little bit quicker. I've done both. The result is pretty similar, so just go with whatever you like. And if anyone has any recommendations on a good air fryer, let me know. This is just the one I have available right now, but I'm just looking to get one that's like, non-toxic and no plastic leaching and everything else that we're trying to avoid these days. And when your chickpeas are done, you're gonna know it because they are gonna start to shrivel up. You're gonna feel how crunchy they are. You can even just pop one real quick just to make sure it's a good texture. Keep in mind, as they dry and cool, they're gonna crisp up a little bit more. So if they still seem a little soft, it's okay. And while that's cooking, prep your squash. Always wash everything, cut it in half, scoop out the seeds. You can save the seeds for later. You can bake them. You can just toss them. I don't know if you could fertilize them. I don't know if they would start growing. And I'm slicing mine into rings. If you have a little bit of trouble with that, just to make sure everything's safe, I don't want you losing any fingers there, cut it in half, and then you can slice them into half rings. That might give you something a little bit more to hold on to. It really just depends on your knife and how comfortable you are. Once those are cut, you're just gonna put them to the side and we're gonna cook them a little bit later. You can also throw them in the oven if you want. I'm just doing one skillet for everything, a little bit less to clean. But before we cook that, I want to just prep everything. So next up, just smashing the garlic, peeling it, getting my lemon ready. Those cashews already are soaking. If you want, you can start slicing your cabbage ahead of time. But just for the garlicky cashew cream, we're gonna add those cashews, add the garlic, add some salt, pepper, that lemon juice. I also added a little bit of mustard in here. I just feel like it gives it a little bit more depth. And you're just gonna blend that until you get a nice creamy result. And once you have a smooth texture, just place that on the side. I like to let it just sit for a little bit so it has more time for those flavors to come together, especially when you're working with fresh garlic. I think sometimes it's very just harsh. So now let's move on to the second half, or the third of the recipe. Let's get that cabbage and onions prepped and ready to go. So again, always wash any produce you're working with. You don't know where it's been, who touched it. Just get off whatever you can before you cook it. And I personally like to always peel off just that first layer of leaves. I don't know if it is, I guess they're leaves. I don't know what it's technically called. If you know, drop it in the comment. And we want to enjoy this, so we don't want super tough bits that are going to be annoying to eat. So you can cut the stem, cut it in half, and then when you open it up, you're going to see a little bit more of like the root or the base or the stem, whatever it's called, that white part. Just cut it out. From there, you're going to slice it as thin as you want. If you have some way to shred it, that's going to be great, because the smaller this is, it's going to be more enjoyable to eat. And I'm adding this in here because not only just the color, like the purple goes very well with the orange. It's giving you way more fiber, and there's all kinds of nutrients in cabbage and a lot of these cruciferous vegetables, especially the sulfates, sulforaphane. Excuse my butchering of it. I'm not going to get into it. That'll be another video, or just Google the health benefits of that real quick if you're curious. I will also say don't overcook this, because even with broccoli, cabbage, anything like that, again, the cruciferous vegetables, when you overcook them, you break down a lot of that compound that's supposed to be very good for you. So if you are focused on getting as much nutrition out of this as possible, give these just kind of a quick steam or a quick cook. Again, you can eat cabbage raw, so you could just not cook it at all. I just think it's going to be a little bit more enjoyable cooked. And again, that's why we want smaller pieces. And just to kind of keep the same color theme going, we're using some red onions. Even though they're purple, hold on, I'm actually gonna, let me check that real quick. Okay, so apparently they're only called red onions. I assume this also goes for the red cabbage as well, even though they're purple, because back then, I guess there just wasn't a lot of color options, so everyone just kind of grouped the reds, purples, apparently even some blues, all as red. I guess that's what they would use to make a lot of dyes, maybe for clothing or jewelry or makeup. Jewelry. It's just one of those things. Call it what you want. I was just curious. Back to the video. So you're gonna slice up your onions. Similar to how I did the acorn squash, whenever I start to get to the end of something, I find if I flip it around, I get just a little bit more grip on it, so I can cut it without it kind of sliding around or me being worried that it's gonna go somewhere I don't want it to go. And once that's sliced up, we're going to toss it in our skillet with a little bit more avocado oil. With that, you can add a little bit of water, a little bit of salt, and cover it. Just let it sit for about 5 minutes or so, or you can sit there and kind of saute it, make sure everything gets nice and evenly cooked. You just want these onions to soften up, maybe get a little translucent. We're not looking to caramelize these. We still want to keep that vibrant red purple color. And once that's done, I'm gonna put it into a bowl to the side with a little bit of lemon juice. It's gonna go really well as a topping later once we plate everything. In that same pan, toss in your cabbage. You can add a little bit more oil if you need to. We don't want anything to get stuck. A little water, a little salt. And again, we're just kind of blanch steaming this. I'm not really trying to like cook it. You can do a little stir fry, but we don't want this to get mushy, and you also don't want to lose a lot of that vibrant color. So once that's done, you can put it to the side in its own bowl as well. I made a lot. I just wanted to use all the cabbage because I feel like if I ever leave half of it in the fridge, I just never get back to it. So keep that in mind. And now we're adding the acorn squash. For this, definitely give that pan a little bit of a wipe down, add a little more oil. Ideally, you would have kept some of that oniony flavor in there. You can play with the orders you do this, not that big a deal. But we're looking to caramelize the acorn squash rings. You will be able to eat the skin, so you don't have to worry about peeling them. If you cook it long enough, it's gonna soften up. The inside's gonna get like nice and caramelized, soft, sweet, very good. It's probably going to be less than 5 minutes on each side, but keep an eye on it. I wouldn't just set it and forget it. You don't want it to burn. You can see here we have these nice orangey crispy bits in there, and that as I pick it up with the tongs, it's getting nice and, you know, like flimsy, just kind of floppy. That's how you know it's done. And to plate everything together, I'm just using a big bowl. If you haven't heard me before, I just really like that big bowl feeling. So we're putting the squash in there, layering it with some of the cabbage, getting some of the onion on top before adding our garlicky cashew cream, and then topping it with those crispy, crunchy chickpeas. It's so good. I just love the colors of this one. You're eating the rainbow. You get the orange and the green from the acorn squash. You get the purple from the cabbage. You're getting a little bit of the red from the onion. You get that pale, actually, that doesn't sound very good. I don't even know. That creamy color that you get from the garlic cream. And I feel like it's just hitting all the flavor profiles as well. It's like a little sweet, a little creamy, a little crunchy. It's just good. I just like this one, and I hope you like it too. It's a little bit more intricate than, just something you would just meal prep, but it's fun, tasty. So make sure you try it out.